In many software markets, open source software has increasingly competed with proprietary software. For example, Linux versus Windows, Firefox versus IE, and recently, Android versus iOS. In this competition between open source and proprietary software, the open source firm could hire many employees and compete for the market share. However, it's also going to be very costly. Fortunately, since the software is open source, the firm can obtain contributions from outside contributors. The open source firm can leverage development efforts from the contributor to compete with the proprietary company. The collaboration between the open source firm and the contributor will make it less costly to develop the software, but at the same time, the contributor may be able to provide a similar service and take a portion of the market. This structure makes competition different from traditional settings. Our first research question is, how does consideration of a strategic contributor affect the competition between open source and proprietary software? In this new competition, the collaboration between the open source firm and the contributor is no longer governed by traditional contracts. Instead, the contribution may be heavily affected by intellectual property rights, which are governed by various license schemes in open source software. There exists a large number of licenses. Distinct licenses each have different restrictions on the use, modification, and redistribution of the software. On one end, the BSD license is very permissive, while on the other end, the GPL license is quite restrictive. Between them, there exist many license schemes with varied restrictiveness, and software products in different markets adopt different license schemes. Our second research question then is, how does the degree of license restrictiveness affect the incentives of the open source firm, the contributor, and the proprietary firm? When one reflects on the open source movement and the ideology behind it, an open question is, what type of license genuinely lead to better outcomes in software markets? For example, do certain licenses lead to higher quality products? To that end, our third question then is, how does the degree of license restrictiveness affect consumer surplus under different market conditions?